Frank Morales continues our live coverage from Grandmont Street at 5 o'clock. Frank?
Yeah, John, police were held up in front of this house here on Grandmont Street. It's just wild here as the Houdat Nation is well represented, celebrating their first ever Super Bowl victory. At this point, they're moving the car off the tracks. As you see, the train is being backed up right now, and police say that this woman is very lucky to be alive. Megan, I think what everybody wants to know is what will happen next and what kind of punishment, in fact, are these two men going to face? For the official beginning of hurricane season, folks around here at Monroe Regional Airport say this was more like a tornado. Take a look here. Standing in front of St. Francis Hospital where one Ouachita Parish deputy has been wounded. He's in critical condition here at the hospital. Although folks on the Ouachita River Basin saw the biggest snow event in nearly a decade, it wasn't enough to stop the river from its slow decline below flood stage. A postal worker shot and then taken to St. Francis Hospital. We have details coming up. Megan needs to work on her dart skills a little bit.
A little bit. We saw her shooting that gun the other day. She was right on target.
I know. It's rush hour here on 18th Street in Louisville, and this intersection actually came in at number 3 on the top accident intersections for 2009 in the city of Monroe. Ricky and Darlene Harrell sift through the debris that once was their rental home, looking for anything they can salvage from the wreckage. Their dog Coco is still missing.
He might be under here in the trap. I don't know, but he's probably gone.
They haven't seen a storm like this in decades.
We heard all the warnings on the TV and stuff like that. Said it was over around Delhi and Rabel. We didn't think it was coming this way. When my wife was trying to put something out, I said, don't worry about that, let's get in the tub. The time we got in the tub, it started pushing the house down.
And just seconds later, the roof was right on top of them. They lost almost everything besides a few clothes and their truck, which was not badly damaged after the winds buried it under the house.
Our refrigerator, everything's gone. But I know you can replace that, but if you lost your life or a loved one, you can never replace them.
Sugar.
Ricky walked away with just bruises. Darlene had to see a doctor about a hurt leg and a concussion. They say they aren't too sure what they'll do now, but this Sunday they thank God that they're still alive. In Madison Parish, Frank Morales, KNOE 8 News.
Police call it a victimless crime and one of the oldest professions in the world. I'm talking about prostitution, a crime that is fought across the country.
But cops patrolling the streets of Monroe will tell you it's a far cry from what you see on TV or in the movies. Tonight, the Night Beat takes you into Monroe's underworld. Frank Morales live on the Night Beat with more. Frank?
Yeah, John and Bonnie, I rode with Corporal Tim Antley of the Monroe Police Department. He's a 12-year veteran of the force, and he served 10 years in their Special Ops Unit where they pursue ongoing crimes like prostitution. And now he's the face of Monroe's new Met Unit, their business district and downtown patrol. To him, this is familiar ground. It's a place where sex is sold and more crime follows.
I'm 10-6 on a detail right now, Toppling Wood.
Corporal Tim Antley heads out on patrol in his unmarked pickup. Ironically, this way, he draws more attention to himself.
These are the areas that we typically see some of the women walking in. The Johns will be driving up. The females will usually kind of walk up to the window. They may tell them to make a block. They'll come back around. They'll talk to them through the window. Sometimes the females will get in the cars with the Johns, and while they're driving around, they'll discuss the transaction.
Antley poses as a customer, or John, to nab prostitutes. Antley has been fighting prostitution in Monroe since his training days.
Where's some prostitutes at?
I don't know where they.
Do you usually see them out here? In Monroe, we don't have the high profile. Most of ours, they tell us that they work for themselves to support drug habits.
Most who are working the streets are addicted to crack cocaine, and in Monroe there are more Johns buying than there are prostitutes, so it doesn't take a lot of cash to buy sexual favors.
They'll approach these women and they'll try to engage them, for $20 or sometimes even less.
Antley says the sale of sex itself is a misdemeanor, and it's hard to put away offenders for long.
We deal with a certain number of people over and over again that are prostitutes that we've arrested for prostitution. There we go. Come here. You out working today?
I just got here.
Just got here.
Yeah, I just walked my way in the football. Took him on the football.
All right.
I ain't doing nothing wrong.
Not yet. People see the movies and they think that it's, these scantily clad women walking up and down, in fishnet stockings, and it's not that.
For 15 years, Wyman Wheeler has been working on the Deepwater Horizon, the oil rig that exploded and sank into the Gulf of Mexico last week. When he's away, it's his sister, Talina Book, who gets to take his son Walker to his Little League games.
We all enjoy baseball, so this is just something that we just encourage all of our kids to play baseball or softball.
Baseball is a love that runs in the Wheeler family as much as oil mining. Wheeler's father and his little brother all worked in the business. The Gulf tragedy last week hit very close to home.
Wednesday morning, about 3:30, my parents had called and told my husband that there had just been that Wyman had been in an accident, and that's all they told us.
Shortly after his rescue, Book says Wheeler was able to get a hold of a phone from a medic. He called home to tell everyone he was fine.
He just told us that he knew he had one broke leg, that he didn't know about the other one, but that he was okay.
Wheeler has several friends from the Jonesville area that were on the rig as well, like Wyatt Kemp, who is still one of the 11 still missing after the search for survivors was called off.
He hasn't been home. He was scheduled to leave the very next morning to come home. He was actually finished work, so he hasn't been home for now a month, so he's ready to come home.
Book says Wheeler is shook up from the accident and is not sure what will happen after his injuries heal. He's just happy to come home to his family alive. In Concordia Parish, Frank Morales, KNOE 8 News.